Good morning. I'm Police Chief Katrina Thompson, and on behalf of the women and men of the Winston-Salem Police Department, I'd like to welcome you to the March 2019 Public Safety News Conference. The Winston-Salem Police Department feels fortunate not to have an officer who lost his life or her life in the line of duty during the month of March. However, I'd like to ask that you join me in a moment of silence to recognize those officers across our country who have lost their lives during the month of March. Thank you. Before I begin with the upcoming events for this month and the month of April, I would like to thank the women and men of the Winston-Salem Police Department for their hard work and dedication that they provide every day, protecting and serving the citizens, residents, and visitors of Winston-Salem. Our upcoming events: the annual Special Olympics Cops versus Docs hockey game will be Saturday, March 30th at 7:00 p.m. at the Lawrence Joel Veteran Memorial Annex, Coliseum Annex. General admission is $5, and you can contact Officer Claudia Morgan with any questions at 336-408-8126. Again, 336-408-8126. The 2019 Citizens Police Academy began on April 4th, 2019. The application deadline has passed for this class. However, you can still contact Officer Claudia Morgan with questions about the next class. Again, her number is 336-408-8126. This month, you will hear from K-9 Officer Jessica Watts and her new K-9 partner, K-9 Zorro. They will be followed by District Investigator Carla Davis, who will discuss with you information on recent mail theft. She will be followed by Park Ranger Randleman on the utilization of city parks. K-9 Officer Watts.
Good morning. Jessica Watts is actually bringing the canine in right now. Basically leave him outside so he don't get too amped up before he comes in. Give you a little brief synopsis on what happened. Back in December 1st, we lost one of our veteran handlers to retirement. Officer Lee Lamert served several years with the department with his canine Lobo. Both him and the dog were tired out. We handled a selection process for a new canine handler. Officer Watts went through the selection process and was selected, and I'll let her take over now to tell a little bit about herself, where we got the dog, and where they come from, and everything else.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm K-9 Handler Jess Watts. This is my partner, K-9 Zorro. Late December, we made the trip up to Sharpsville, Pennsylvania, and came home with Zorro. We're currently doing our required 400 hours of training. We're about to be done with that. We're thoroughly enjoying the training process, but also extremely excited, like he is this morning, to get released out into the community. See if I have any questions.
What type of dog is it?
He's a Czech Shepherd.
How many other types of dogs like this are there in the park?
I'm not sure as far as specifically a Czech Shepherd, but I believe we have 10 working canines, and most of them are Shepherds.
How old?
He's roughly 16 months.
Officer Watts, can you explain what he is actually trained to do?
Yes, ma'am. He is trained in evidence detection, narcotics detection, tracking operations, as well as apprehension. We assist patrol in anything and they need, so we act as a support role to patrol. I'm sorry, ma'am.
When are you expected to be finished with your training?
We've got roughly a week left, and then we'll be headed out to midnight shift. Anyone else? All right. Thank you, guys. You guys have a nice day. It's roughly 6 to 1.
Further on that, I know really sometimes can't get pictures in there, but we are, a lot of times you can't really get pictures up here. She will be in front of the arch after the press conference if anybody wants to do a little question and answer session one-on-one and take photos of the dogs also. So we'll be available as soon as the press conference is over.
Good morning. I'm Corporal Davis of the FSB Investigations. This morning I'll talk to you about mail and package thefts. Recently, the Winston-Salem Police Department and U.S. Postal Service have been aware of recent instances of those mail and package thefts in our area. Whether your mail goes to a neighborhood collection box or directly to your residential mailbox, everyone is a potential target. To protect yourself from these mail thefts, please deposit your outgoing mail into the blue collection boxes at the post office or hand it directly to your mail carrier. Pick up your mail promptly after delivery. Don't leave it in your mailbox overnight. If you're expecting checks, credit cards, or other negotiable items, ask a trusted friend or a neighbor to pick up your mail. If you change your address, immediately notify your post office and anyone with whom you do business via mail. Don't send cash in the mail. Tell your post office when you will be out of town so they can hold your mail until you return. Consider online bill pay through financial transactions or financial institutions, or ask for secure checks that can't be altered. In regards to packages, direct ship to a local store if available. Take advantage of alternative delivery options, Amazon Locker, Federal Express Manager, UPS My Choice, or United States Postal Service GoPost when making online purchases. Most of these services are free and only require the user to set up an online account. Mail thieves strike quickly, so it's important that we stay vigilant, keep a watchful eye, and gather as much information about the perpetrators as possible. If you have security cameras, feel free to point them at your mailbox. As always, if your mail is stolen, it is important to report the theft immediately to the carrier, U.S. Postal Service, and the Winston-Salem Police Department. Any questions?
Particular area that this has been happening in?
Just most recently over in the Polo Road area and Ransom Road area.
How long has this been going on?
It's just started to pick up. It's very random.
Last month or 2 weeks?
It's random over the last probably 2 months.
Do you know about how many instances you've had?
It's hard to track them or try to do that because what happens is the mail's stolen, then it's reported as a fraud, whereas like a check is stolen or something like that, so we have to go back and backtrack. So I can't give you exact data on that. I'm working on it.
Does it come across as somebody who's doing this, like following the mail person, or is it coming across as later in the day?
It's later in the day, in the evening hours. It's predominantly in the evening hours. We've got a couple of videos where they're going by and they're just checking mailboxes randomly, pulling out what they can grab, and then walking from the area. I've had one report during the daytime, went out and come to find out, we actually had tag information and was able to identify that person as somebody that was authorized to do such. Does that answer your question, sir? Any others? Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Officer Rimbleman, Winston-Salem Police Department, assigned to the Park Ranger unit. Just going to speak a little bit about the upcoming summer events involving pool openings, shelter rentals, things like that. All the information can also be located on the city website. You can search by the Department of Recreation Parks Department. and that can give you all the information you really need. You can also call the CityLink number, either by dialing 311 or the 336-727-8000 number. You can ask for any kind of information involving shelter rentals, pool openings, things of that nature. As far as shelter and field rentals go, you can also call that number, the 727-8000 number, to reserve a shelter or pool anywhere in the city of Winston-Salem. That season actually runs from April 1st to October 31st. That's when you can reserve an actual shelter or field. You can call in advance, obviously, outside of that time, but the reservations are actually through that window. And they also want to note that once you reserve one of these shelters or fields, you want to keep your forms on hand so that you can avoid any type of conflict between someone also trying to claim that they have that rented. Due to construction, the Salem Lake rental shelters will not be available through October 31st of this year. Also due to construction, Happy Hill Shelter won't be available until further notice, as it's still under construction. Speaking of opening hours, obviously Salem Lake closes at 5 p.m. Other parks close at 10:30 p.m. unless otherwise posted, or unless there are special events scheduled. Memorial Day have most of the pools opening. Those hours for the pools usually close at sunset. That obviously changes when there's a special event scheduled. You can find information about pool openings and the advancement of the construction through the city website under the Recreation Parks Department section of the website. You can just look up pools and aquatics for that information. Again, due to construction, Parkland Pool and Happy Hills Pool are closed until further notice. You can refer to the pools and aquatics section for that information. They also want to note that we want to remind citizens that appropriate attire when swimming should be stressed to children and adults. Also on the city website, you can locate a listing of all allowed and prohibited concealed carry locations within the city. Again, that's under the Recreation Parks section of the page. That's all I have. Questions? Thank you.
Before I turn the podium over to the fire department, I want to take this time to acknowledge. In our city yesterday was a very historic event as we had the removal of a Confederate statue that had been erected in our community for over 100 years. Regardless of what side you were on in terms of the removal of the statue, I would like to personally, as the chief of police, thank the citizens and residents of our community for maintaining peace and calm while still expressing your opinion during this event. I would like to think that Winston-Salem has served as a model for other communities across the country. We live in a country where we are able to express our opinions, whether positive or negative, as long as we do so without violence. And as chief of police, again, I am extremely proud of the fact that we did just that yesterday. I'd also like to take this time to thank our mayor and city government for the diligent work that they did in getting us all through this challenging time. And especially would like to thank the women and men of the Winston-Salem Police Department for being able to maintain the physical security of this community by maintaining confidentiality when same was needed. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to turn the podium over to Assistant Fire Chief Frank Stowe.
Good morning to all. Again, I'd like to welcome you to this March news conference on behalf of the Winston-Salem Fire Department. I'd like to start off by giving thanks to all of the women and men that work and serve in the Winston-Salem Fire Department. Thank you for the excellent customer service that you give to the citizens of Winston-Salem. Just like the police department, we do not have any line of duty deaths to report, but at the same time, we offer our prayers to all of those, to all agencies throughout this nation. Fire Recruit Class 27 will graduate on April 5th, 2019 at the Benton Convention Center. The time will be 10 o'clock a.m., and we will be graduating 16 women and men. We anticipate that the next firefighter hiring process will open in April. Those that are interested should check the city website at cityofws.org. At this time, I would like to call up fire and life safety educator Sabrina Stowe, and she will give you some highlights on child seat safety. Thank you.
Good morning. Today I just want to bring up a few things that we see often as we're doing child passenger seat checks. We do a monthly check in coordination with a division called Safe Kids. The fire department, along with some of our police officers, are child passenger seat technicians. And we just want to talk a little bit about some of the common mistakes that we see when we're doing those car seat checks. One of the first things that we see are the car seat may be in the wrong direction. And these tips are going to be coming from recommendations from the American Academy of Pediatrics. The seat is often facing the wrong direction. When children are from ages birth to 2 years old, they need to be rear facing. Of course, in the back seat, you need to keep the kids rear facing for as long as possible. Many times the parents want to turn the kids around. They want to be able to see them. It's not necessary that you see the kids, but you want to keep them rear facing as long as possible, even up to 3 years old. The other things we're seeing is that people have the wrong type car seat based on the child's age, height, and weight. If you look at this chart, it kind of gives you an indication of what type of seat your child needs to be in. As I said, from birth to 3 years old, they need to be in a rear-facing car seat. As they get a little older, toddlers and preschoolers are going to be in the forward-facing position, whether they're in a convertible seat, but they need to have a seat with a harness, and that's going to be the straps that are going to buckle them in at the hips and waist, as well as protect them at the top, at the shoulder angle. As they get a little older, they can go into a booster seat. It needs to be in a belt positioning booster seat or a backless booster seat, depending on the age, height, again, of the child. Seat belts, as you know, are in the cars, they're going to be for adults. So you want to make sure that those seat belts are going to fit correctly. As they get older and you may want to go ahead and put them in a seat belt, you want to make sure that that lap belt crosses at the lap. If you'll notice in the illustration here, the lap belt is on the child's midsection or belly area, and that's not a properly fitting seat. So you want to make sure that that particular child would be probably in a booster seat. So you want to make sure that it's going to fit correctly, because that's going to really have a large determining factor on injuries. If there is if there is an accident in that car, if the child is not in the right seat, it may not hold them in the position of the seat. So you want to make sure that they are in the correct seat. Always look at the manufacturer's instructions, look at the weight and height information on that when determining that type of seat that your child needs to be in. The other thing we're seeing is the installation is incorrect in the seats. There are different ways that the seats can be installed. They can be installed with lower anchors, or most commonly they're installed with the seat belt, which is fine. A lot of people don't understand which they should use. Sometimes people try to use both. You cannot use both of those systems together. They're either going to be installed with the lower anchors, or they're going to be installed with the seat belt. Also, when the seat is going to be forward facing, there is a tether on the back of the car seat for the forward-facing seats, that tether is going to attach to the top, somewhere in the top back of your car. If it's a car, it's going to probably be right behind the headrest. If it's an SUV, it may be further down into the trunk of that vehicle. So you'll need to be able to locate that. And all of that information is going to be in your car instructional manual. If you have a forward-facing car seat, that tether must be attached. It can't just sit there. Every part on the car seat can be used. There are no extra pieces. So if there's something in there, then it needs to be used. You need to find out how that's going to be used. The other thing is the harnesses are not correct. This is going to be the straps that are on the child's shoulders. When that child is in that rear-facing, or that car seat is in that rear-facing position, the harness is going to be either slightly even with the child's shoulders or slightly below. Excuse me, it's going to be even or slightly below the child's shoulders. And that's going to be when they're in that infant stage. When they're forward-facing, that's going to change. The harness is going to be slightly above. And what we're talking about is where those straps come out from the car seat. When they're forward-facing, that strap is going to be a little bit above their shoulders. When they're infants and turned rear, it's going to be a little bit below. There's a chest clip on the harness, as you can see, and that's exactly what it is, a chest clip. It needs to be at the chest level, armpit level. You want to make sure that the straps cannot be pinched to determine the tightness of it. And you also, a lot of things that we see is when you install the child or put the child in the car seat in the winter months and you're keeping on the winter clothes and that type of thing, that's a no-no. The child should be in the car seat with their clothing on as they would normally have it on, but you want to put the coat or the covering or the blanket over the child at that point. You don't want to put them in the car seat with the bulky coat on. The other thing we're seeing is people are using damaged, used, or expired car seats. Car seats, like anything else, they have expiration dates, usually about 6 years after the manufacture date. And the reason that is, the plastics, the materials can deteriorate. You'll see at the bottom of the screen, there's an example of the stamp that's on every car seat. It's going to tell you when that seat was manufactured. You want to be careful of buying a car seat and you don't know the history of that seat. A lot of times you may see them at yard sales or thrift stores and that type of thing. You don't want to buy a car seat that you don't know the history, if you don't know if it's involved in an accident. If the car seat has been in a major accident, you cannot or should not use that seat again. If you are in an accident, you want to refer with your insurance company about replacing that seat. So you want to verify all of that information. And you want to also make sure that you have the manufacturer's manual with that if you're going to get a car seat from another source. We do have child passenger safety technicians here with the Winston-Salem Fire Department, also with the police department. You should only have that seat installed or checked by a certified passenger seat technician. Again, we do monthly car seat checks, but we can also do those by appointment as well. There are other agencies in the area who do the car seat checks. If we're unable to do it at the time that you need it done in between those monthly car seat checks, we will refer you to other agencies in the area. You can also go on the buckleupnc.com website to get a listing of all the permanent checking stations. And also you can contact the Safe Kids Northwest Piedmont group to schedule an appointment as well. Their number listed there is 336-716-0649 if you would like to schedule a time to come to one of our monthly car seat checks. The police department number 773-7900 if you want to speak with someone with our police department, with our community resource unit, to schedule an appointment as well. Our next car seat check, the monthly car seat check, will be on March 27th, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. We normally do those at our fire station number 2 on Somerset Drive. We're going to move this one out into our community. Every quarter or so, we will do a car seat check in a local community area. This one is going to be held near the Head Start Child Development Center. It's going to be on the corner of New Walkertown Road and Big House Gaines Boulevard. It's going to be at the Second New Bethel Baptist Church at 1900 New Walkertown Road. Again, you can call Safe Kids to make an appointment, or you can just drop in between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. Are there any questions? Okay. If there are no questions, I will bring Police Chief Katrina Thompson back up to close us out.
Thank you. If there are no other questions, this will conclude the March 2019 Public Safety News Conference. Thank you.